buying you new outfits, and I remember my skirt was like just not complete.
And those who are suffering with fraud, Jesus will provide. Know how to ask for wisdom.
They will catch you with rents.
Know how to manage.
They will catch you. You know, your friends, you can hear like just parties outside, and then you're just staying in your room.
I'm coming out of fear. I'm coming out of depression. I'm coming out of sin. I'm coming.
And I remember like people would just kind of be like, they would judge you quick because you were at Roadblock last night, but you're raising your hands. Like everyone's going to church the next day, and it's like it's just a bit awkward.
No, they realise that I'm not about it, so we look for alternatives. You go rollerblading, ice skating. We do cookouts, cinema, comedy shows. We go to different kind of events, concerts, sisterhood nights, where we just chill. We do people's hair, makeups, eat, and fellowship.
Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord.
It's like they're draining you, and if you don't have nothing that's putting back in you, what happens is you get emptied.
Episode 3 of season 2, the University Christian. I can't wait to see what's happening. Let's go.
We are looking forward to the show.
Oh, I think
They're ready? Yeah, go.
Episode 3, looking at University Christians. Let's go.
Welcome guys, and welcome to episode 3 of season 2 of Sound Word. Today we're looking at the University Christian. How do Christians get on at university? Today with me I've got 3 great guys, Brother Taiwo, Sister Ebon, and Sister Elizabeth. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Taiwo. I'm 25 and I went to Birmingham City University.
Hi, my name is Ebs. I'm 25 and I went to DMU.
Hey, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm 20, and I went to Aston. Well, I took it to Aston.
Guys, let's get straight into this. What was university like for especially you two who've done uni? What was the experience?
University was sick. It was really, really good. I think I felt different at different stages. So first year was wild year. Second year was a bit chilled, and third year was just no fun at all. As in not no fun, but there was a level of maturity that took place at uni. And I don't know, what was your first year?
For me, it was looking forward to student loan. Literally, like that money coming in.
That money dropping.
And just looking forward to that day, and it's like literally, it was an amazing experience. Experience. Like the freedom, getting away from home.
It was
having
just so
time to do whatever you want.
Like I think the freedom of being in first year, coming away from home, being able to make your own decisions and choices and deal with your own consequences was just it was an experience that was it was a good experience. And I think like in my first year I was just kind of making friends, socializing, going to every kind of party that I could go to, just to kind of, it wasn't kind of like, oh yeah, I enjoyed parties generally, but it was like, well, because everyone else is doing it, let me jump on it and see what it's like. And I remember the sickest rave then was like Roadblock and some other raves, and bar fest and all these stuff. And I remember going and like I'd remember like preparing for that to go to the raves and just the whole process of getting ready and going to buy
that was
new
just
outfits.
as exciting as the rave itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting ready for the rave.
Getting ready for the raves, like buying your new outfits, and I remember my skirt was like just not complete.
You know when they turn the Barker's shirt into turn into a string.
Yeah, turning your top into strings.
Wow.
And you know, it was just a very like there was a lot of self-exploration at that stage, and it was interesting.
I think just to pick up on something that you said is dealing with your own consequences as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff like, I mean, with that freedom, with the money, with the alcohol, the girls, the boys for the girls, and some of the consequences that you had to deal with was a bit like, you know, looking back in hindsight, maybe I would have done some stuff differently, but I mean, it's all part of the experience, and I think definitely it's good for growth as well. And just to point out what you said as well in terms of like self-exploration, it's really good for like, okay, this is what I would do in that situation. Because sometimes you can say, I mean, going in there as a Christian, you're thinking, nah, I'll never do that, I'll never do that.
This is it, isn't it?
Yeah, like you'll never do that. But when you get there, the test, this is
a
now
lot of people can't go with that. When I get to university, I'm not going to get involved with this, and this. And these are the same people that are deep into it, or is that unfair?
Do you know what? When I went in as a Christian, okay? So I went in as someone who is a believer, and for me, I just didn't feel, I think I was just morally correct, if that makes sense. Like I didn't really believe. I wasn't really practicing. And so for me, it was just kind of like just following. I wasn't necessarily following the crowd. Like I wouldn't do this. Like there were people at university that were known for so many different things. So, you know, you had your... You had
the loose girls.
You had
the boys that were the dogs.
Boshes. You had the dolls.
Boys that were on money.
Guys who were just the roadman, guys that were getting into trouble, just and then there was the kind of Christians, and then there was the lukewarm Christians that like, and I remember like people would just kind of be like, they would judge you quick because you were at Roadblock last night, but you're raising your hands, like everyone's going to church the next day, and it's like it's just a bit awkward.
So do you think it's impossible to stay right as a Christian then in uni?
Absolutely.
It's impossible to stay right.
Oh no, absolutely. It is very possible.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think again the journey with the Lord in terms of uni is, you know, it's a very personal one, but also it's a journey. So I found myself improving and growing more mature over the years, but it didn't happen straight away. I think there was just experiences that you just needed to go through in order to know who you were. You know, just the more you grow to know the heart of the Lord more, the more you kind of abstain or stay away from certain things, or you know, you start to surround yourself around the people that you just genuinely wanna, you know, that are gonna help you grow and help you mature. Because I started to gravitate more to kind of like the Christian Union, and I started to kind of, I still was involved in ACS and stuff like that.
Yeah, with that kind of stuff, like, because it comes later towards the end of the year, as in towards your year at uni. So first year is literally, your mindset is fun. And one of the things I heard a lot when I was going on my first year was, first year doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Just have fun, do your thing, sort of thing. So already you're getting there thinking, I don't need to be serious, you know what I mean? Like you're going there with like that sort of like playboy mentality sort of thing. So it's a bit, so in terms of, is it impossible to stay a Christian? It's not impossible, but everything is fighting against you, literally. In terms.
I was going to say it's quite surprising because I'm actually in my first year, and so I've gone to university as a believer, as a strong Christian as well, and even though all the Freshers Weeks have started and there's so many raves going on, I've actually managed by the grace of God to stick to my values, and I haven't really diverted what I know compromise or what I know was wrong anyway, because I could do that in London if I wanted to, and I've done it before, and I know that it has nothing to offer me, so I've said no to it, and I won't say yes to it at university.
So in regards to you, would you not go to a rave? Would you not? What are the things that you think you shouldn't necessarily do, or you might not necessarily do in the university culture?
I think everyone has their their own personal journey and is convicted to different things, and everyone's at different stages as well. But like on my freshers week, I remember there was so many raves for the whole week. And on the first week, everyone was like, you have to come out, you don't know anybody. So I went out, right? So we went to this bar sort of thing, and it ended up turning into a rave. When it turned into a rave at 1:30, it was like 1:30 a.m. I was like, I'm gonna go now. And I left because it wasn't my vibe, it wasn't my atmosphere, but it was theirs. But I still met people there, got their numbers, and we're still cool till today. You're going to university not knowing anyone. You're not knowing anyone, so you know.
Do you know what? Sorry, that just reminded me of when I did. So in second year, when I was kind of like practicing and giving my life to Christ, but still trying to go out and experience, and you know, you get forced to like attend different things. And I remember like there would be like a bunch of Christians who would be at these different events, and you'd stand there dead stiff because it's just not your vibe. Like you know, you just know you're just like, why are we here, man? We need to be somewhere else. Like I feel so proud that you're at university and you're focused, and
I'm blushing.
No, but
I feel like it's impossible.
But that's what I'm saying about the times. Like I feel like, because I was at uni and like I graduated in 2011, so but there's something different about the generation, and I don't feel like we were exposed to there was a lot of resources.
For me personally, I didn't even know there was a Christian union until like the second year.
This is the thing, man.
So it was like,
you did?
I mean, we had like Freshers Fair, we had all this Freshers stuff, like the desk and everything, and I didn't see no Christian union.
Dry.
That's another thing as well. So it was like,
that's the thing.
When I
See, with ours now, right? On our Freshers Fair, they were going out evangelizing around the whole campus, handing out flyers and come to our Freshers Fair. Their Freshers Fair was really lively. They had food on the table to trying to attract people. And there's actually three: Radical Youth, Growing in Faith and Truth, and Christian Union itself. And they were all about, and majority of the time they always come together and like, come here, come to this day, this fellowship on this day and this time. So they were really out there. So I think it has changed probably. Because now they're really out there trying to grab people before like the raves can grab them even.
That's good, because I thought there's not many of those examples, unless maybe I'm just not aware of them. But I feel like when I was at school, when I was at uni, I just felt that that exposure wasn't there. I think it was ACS, and after ACS it was Waves, and ACS was dominant, and you didn't have those Christian unions. But like, what I was going to ask you guys is that, you know, university is no different to everyday life, like you said. But it does have this kind of concentrated feel, because you're far away and it's kind of like concentrated kind of focus group to some extent. And like, we do have some people who are really struggling there, you know, really struggling and getting themselves into some real serious things, you know. I mean, some people, and you know, this is true, and I pray that the people that maybe be going through this will be blessed by this by the end of the show. But you know, some people, you know, went to university and never thought about this, but came back with 2 or 3 abortions, or some people went to jail, you know, or some people, you know. So what about those guys? Like, I mean, we've kind of come out okay to laugh about it and joke about it, you know, but some people are really now, or have had some tough times, you know. What do we say to those guys at university, the Christians there?
I actually have something to say. I think, like you said before, it is to do everyday life and stuff. But I think like when you're at university, there's a tendency to, when you do something and when you fall, you feel guilty, and you feel condemned. And you're like, well, I'm already in it, and you keep continuing, especially when like all your whole surroundings are tempting you, are feeding you with all these satisfying pleasures. You'll give in and you'll be like, well, I've done it yesterday and stuff like that, and then it's hard for you to pick yourself back up. But my message would just be to keep going regardless of what you've done. After forgiveness, keep going again. If you fall and rise back up again, it doesn't matter about yesterday. Today's a new day with new grace and new mercies. That would be my advice to them personally.
I think at uni there was a real struggle with that sense of coming away from family and being alone. And I struggled with this actually. I struggled with that sense of being alone, as in not knowing who to talk to about you know, if I'm struggling, you know, or, you know, wanting to spend time with people, and then you're really isolated, and you know, your friends, you can hear like just parties outside, and then you're just staying in your room.
That was one of the noises.
You know? Like you're just you're by yourself, you're chilling, and then you know, you have friends who are involved in different kinds of things and struggling with different kinds of, and it's like, how do you, and it's literally just kind of being able to you know, come boldly to the throne and just talk, and like that's what helped me, as in like being prayerful, like trying my, like desperately praying for help. It was being done, and then even connect, and then even kind of connecting to family and being like, Mum, you know, this is what I'm dealing with, or just kind of hearing, like just hearing your I miss my family. When I was at uni, I was just like, I didn't like you guys before I left, but like now I appreciate you, kind of thing. But yeah, you are right, people do go through some really traumatic stuff, and it is about having more resources. So one thing that I did was, you know, thank be to God, like over the years, like I started my own ministry, and I think I mentioned this before in the previous video, a women's ministry, and just, it was literally just me kind of opening up my accommodation, so my home up to different women to come and just chill and talk about everything and anything. And it was like for unbelievers, believers, even people kind of like gave their lives even in the midst of that. But it was just creating an environment where you know, the way that you just probably go to your boy's yard and you lot will be chilling and jamming or whatever. It was literally opening up my space up for numerous people. So my first meeting, like, it was just me and the organizer that attended. And I was just like, girl, I don't know if we should be doing this because ain't nobody coming. And then by the end of my third year, there was like 30 odd like girls in my house, and literally just talking about different issues, and you know, like the dissertation. Okay, you haven't done that yet, but like just academically, it can be so draining. And I remember struggling academically with like the dissertation, with time management, and not just you know other academical issues. You know, some people go through plagiarism and different kinds of things that you just find yourself in. So I just think it's really, really important to talk about
just
those things.
Just to build up on that, and in terms of my experience, it was a thing where like I literally had to change the people I was around. Like I literally had to force it to a thing where I had to make it cool to hang around Christians, and just, you know, again. So it was like I got to a point where it was like, do you know what? I can't do this by myself, like, because I actually went into uni. I was on fire. I was like, you know, God this, God that, God this, da da da. And I think there was an example I was telling Frank just outside. It was like, I said, let me just evangelize outside, you know, outside the rave. I'm not going into the rave. And then
Wait, you went inside?
The next thing you know, you evangelize inside the rave, and then you start to rationalize. You start to rationalize yourself. Jesus chilled with sinners. And what it is that they're draining you, and if you don't have nothing that's putting back in you, what happens is you get emptied. So I'm saying, it's like so I'm drinking this water now. Once I finish it, if there's no more water to come in, I'm just an empty cup, empty vessel. So it's like got to a point where I was on fire, but I think by halfway through the year, I was extinguished. I'm trying to tell you about but there was a lot of stuff that was more tempting to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, especially you talked about being alone. It's like you're alone. It's like, let's just chill. You know, like you're just chilling. Like we're not listening to worship song or anything. We're just chilling, and then chilling can kind of lead to stuff like drink up or whatever. Because one thing I noticed about uni is the time frame is different. Well, I don't know what it's like for you, but like for me personally, it was like if you call someone at 3 o'clock in the morning at uni, like you expect them to be up. Do you know what I'm saying? You call an adult.
We will not celebrate.
Boundaries. There's no boundaries.
Yeah, that's what. And
Sleepovers.
And the way the sleepovers can happen as well, it's so casual.
There used to be like 5 of us, like boys and girls, that will just sleep, and it would be a friendship thing. Like it would be so cool. But for some people, it's like when you cross certain boundaries, things start to happen. It's like no.
And it's interesting you said that as well, because you're kind of flirting with that kind of. It's like, we're just chilling.
I think that's the most dangerous thing. Sorry, just what you're saying about the boundaries, as in uni, you go into uni with like for yourself. You know yourself. You know, you're confident in your walk and stuff like that, and you know where not to compromise. And I think for us back then, there was just, you go into uni with no boundaries. As
you think the question that we weren't strong enough though, as we went in?
I don't think so. Well, I can only speak for myself. I definitely wasn't. You know, I wasn't kind of like I was morally like, you know, good girl, but
I don't think we were mentally prepared. So like, I mean, I don't know if there are things like people going back from uni saying this is what is actually out there, because I always think of uni as like a jungle. It's like, listen,
it's a jungle,
like,
man.
yeah, it's true, because you can be like, before you go to uni, you can be on fire, you know, you're going to church every day, and then you get there and it's like,
do you think it's possible to be a true Christian and, you know, and still enjoy and have fun and do all the things that university has to offer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I totally agree. There's other aspects of uni than just the rave, the drink, the drugs, or all the other stuff that people talk about. So, I mean, there's outings, literally just meeting up with your flatmates, for example. So if you live in one of those,
creative.
yeah, literally, and like even if it's like game nights, for example, where like big jigsaw puzzles and all that stuff. So there's many things you can do, sort of thing. And I think it's just a matter of like, where do you draw the line? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can still have fun without having to do this. I can still have fun with that. But I think it comes down to being around like-minded people as well. So if you're around people that just want to do this, just want to do that, or like people that have not had freedom before they came to uni, they're a bit more experimental than people that have had the freedom before uni. So I think you have to get to a stage where, okay, is this person experimental? Is this person like, is this freedom for them, sort of thing? So
you're at uni now, and you have fun now, and you still stick to your values. You don't lose them. You still have loads of fun with uni.
Definitely, like I don't compromise. There's quite a few people that I met at the beginning of Freshers Week, right? And they've been asking me to come out, to do this, to do that, raving and all that stuff, and that's not for me. So majority of the time I'm like, no, and they realise that I'm not about it. So we look for alternatives. You go rollerblading, ice skating, we do cookouts, cinema, comedy shows, we go to different kind of events, concerts, sisterhood nights, where we just chill, we do people's hair, makeups, eat, and fellowship.
There's so many things.
So there's so many things you can do without compromising.
What, before we go to break, what about those people that are watching and are thinking, but what's wrong with raving though?
I just think it's the atmosphere, and really and truly, everyone's, like I said before, everyone's convicted with their on their own personal level, right? But the only reason why raving wouldn't be advice for a Christian to go to is because the atmosphere, what you're doing, what's going on in there as well, and who you really glorifying. Just a question.
There you go.
I used to be challenged all the time, like literally. Like I remember not liking the Christians at uni at first, because I was just like, yeah, hold your lips, yeah, I'm having fun. And they would be like, oh yeah, but why are you going there? I'm going there for the funky house, to be honest with you, because I remember them days.
But there's a funky house, hey,
I'm going to the funky house, and literally it for me it was that, but I mean, over time, it was down to no one needed to tell me. And I think for a lot of people, eventually it became a thing of, okay, Ebbs, you're in the role of leadership. You know, does this look okay? Because if you, as a leader, if you're doing it and it looks okay, then other people, what's the example I'm setting? So for me, that was my own personal conviction. And to be honest with you, I think it's not I don't think it's a great environment to be in, you know, when you're trying to focus in on the Lord and you're pursuing that relationship, because there's just so much around. It's just the atmosphere. It's like, you know, some people could say, I don't know, but what would you say?
Some people say the darkness, some people say the things that happen, some people say the music, the content of it.
Do you know what? Honestly, like Roadblock, I don't know if you guys know Roadblock, but Roadblock was sick. And I just really enjoyed it. Like even today, I don't regret going there. However, what do you think? Like, what do you think it is about?
Just going to go back to the point you made. It's who you're glorifying at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's being glorified? And also, like, are these people around you like-minded? Like, some people are literally coming in there looking for praise. Get me? And it's a thing where, I mean, I'm talking from a guy perspective now. So, as a female, you might be like, I'm just going out with my girls to have fun, you know, and
it was
just
attention
dance.
seeking.
I think it's actually quite interesting because, like you said, people, like you said about experimenting. Some people haven't been to raves before,
Yes.
and at university is the opportunity to do whatever they want. So I do think if you're curious about it, I'm not saying that I'm telling you to go, but it's about getting it out of your system, sort of thing. Because if you haven't done that at home, you're gonna want to. If you haven't done that at all, actually, you're gonna want to do it to see how it's like. If you know
Get some
what I mean.
people to laugh.
And then
Listen to the music in your house.
and then just to see how it is. Obviously, I can only talk for myself because I've been raving before even me going to university, so I've got it out of my system. I understand that I don't want to do it anymore. Like, no one had to tell me to stop. I felt convicted to stop, and at university I wasn't going to change that. But some people haven't even had that opportunity. They're Christian who weren't allowed to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And now they're open to the whole.
I was never allowed to sneak out of my house. I don't know how people did that, but
I don't know did that either.
I was never
I
allowed
understand.
to
You
do
just have to
that.
get to cover
Out
you.
from
Brave
where?
people.
Be like, I'm staying at my friend's house, mum.
My dad would clap me. There's no way that I could do
Where
that.
you
So
going?
As lads, as boys, we went. You're right. We were predators, man.
literally.
We went into the rave looking for the prey.
And can I also say something as well? I mean, in terms of like from the guy perspective again, so you get girls, Christian girls for example, and it's like some of these guys, they have sharp tongue. Like their tongue is very slick. Like they know. Do you know what I mean? And
What to
like
say.
it's not the battle that you're going to look for, but then when faced with it, you might find that. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I had a story once that actually where a girl, one of my flatmate, she went in there as a Christian. You know, she was on Christ and you know on fire for Christ and everything, and lo and behold, this gentleman came along, and obviously she didn't plan it, but literally swept over her feet, like she fell heads over heels, started doing everything that he did just to kind of like make him happy, please him, sort of thing. So it's like these things, you're opening yourself for these these opportunities to happen. So it's like really and truly, why put yourself in that position where
it's an attempt for females from a female perspective. It's definitely like an attention seeking. It's like going as a batch of girls and. Even that there's a gratification in it, definitely, because you're going in, you're gonna go dance or whatever, but he's gonna see me. You know, they're gonna see us, kind of thing. And it's somewhere in the back of your mind, somewhere you might just want to go there to go and dance. But I feel like for females, it was just that. You know, sometimes it's like a self-confidence.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel good about yourself. When you get so self-willed, we're going against God.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we're going to stop there for a music break. Guys, stay tuned. We'll be back soon. Enjoy the music.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ore. This is Kale, and we've got Pedro on the guitar. And today we'll be singing I'm Coming Out by Jonathan McReynolds. I've never fallen this low before. Is this rock bottom? 'Cause I can't take no more. No, the enemy knew which buttons to press. Now I'm stuck in a pile of my own mess, and I don't know what it will take, but I'm coming out. It wasn't meant for me to stay here long and be content with living wrong. Oh, I'm coming out. God will get the glory of my life. I'll get it right this time. I'm coming out. Tired of waiting on cycles to build. So I'll lean on the shoulder that I can depend on. Walking into what you called me to be, step by step. You've already done it, you're waiting on me. And I don't know what it will take, but I coming out. It wasn't meant for me to stay here long and be content with living wrong. Oh, I'm coming out. God will get the glory of my life. I'll get it right this time. I'm coming out. I'm coming out of fear.
I'm coming
Out of depression.
I'm coming
Out of sin.
I'm coming
More importantly,
I'm going
to love.
I'm going
To joy.
I'm going
To peace. To happiness.
I'm
The
going
sound of
I'm
mine.
going
Closer to you, Jesus.
I'm going
Only you can rescue me, and I know that I'm coming out. It wasn't meant for me to stay here long and be content with living wrong. No, I'm coming out. God will get the glory of my life. I'll get it right this time. I'm coming out.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you really enjoyed that. You're blessed by that. As we move forward, I guess we've all spoken about somebody or someone that we've heard who started off as a believer who was really on fire and then just kind of goes down this tepid hill when they get to university. So I guess the question I'm asking now is, what's the importance of accountability before one goes to university and during university? What's the importance of that?
I think personally, in my opinion, and something I've actually experienced myself, I think during uni is actually very, very important. I've got a friend who's actually at uni at the moment, and what I try to make an habit of doing is, just give them a call like every once in a week, just to kind of like talk to them about not just about the Bible, but also like real life situation that they're going through. How are they managing their finance? How's the workload and everything. But I think it's very important to just have that somebody that you're accountable to, somebody that can actually be like, okay, call you up and be like, okay, that's not really right. And nowadays we have stuff like Snapchat, we have stuff like Twitter and all that stuff, so we can actually see what someone's actually doing in real life. Like I see in the club.
My youngers unfollow me. They've
happy you said that.
unfollowed.
Let's make that work. Because I've got some young people that said to me, "Look, bro, Frank, we love you and all that, but I didn't accept your Snapchat." I said, "Okay, well, what is it?"
Some people I ain't seen pop up on my
That's
Snap.
you as well.
It's because they know.
They know they're doing
They
something.
know.
They said to me, because we know we're doing something he's not gonna like, so we'll just thought,
Let's
look. You know what I mean? But what do you do with that? Because we need to somehow keep accountability.
Absolutely.
I think you can use different approach then, because they might think you're trying to you're too much into their lives and you're gonna comment and whatever. Use different approach. Call them up. You don't have to do nothing about social media.
Doesn't have to always be social media.
drop them a text, But I think it's definitely good to keep trying rather than no, I want to give you a breathing space, because that's actually the moment where they're more likely to mess up. That's the moments where they're more likely to do something that they would regret in the future. So I think you as the person holding them accountable,
It's important.
it's important for you to keep.
It is so
trying.
important at university to have accountability. If you are a believer, absolutely yes, because you will fall, and it's so nice to have people around you who are constantly encouraging you. It's not even they're not coming to judge you or preach to you, or it's all about just the support that you're being supported emotionally, spiritually, and even academically as well. So I had a mentor whilst I was at uni, and thankfully, I had I was very much involved in our community church. So because of my involvement in that, they were able to pray for me before I went to uni. So they sent me out into university, as in not for that year, but when I went back for like my second year, I was very much involved with the church and stuff. So they were, each time I'd go back to uni, they'd pray for me. They had covering over me. So and then do you know what? It's funny. Even my church members came down to visit me at uni. So they stayed. They stayed over and literally it just. When you have people who love you and like even when it's just like family that come down, it just breaks this thing, this really dark. Do you know what I mean? It just they just kind of like chop all the imaginations and all the negativity and they're just there and it's just so positive. So like not my pastor but my mentor came with a few of my girls from church and there was quite a few of us that went to DMU that were from the same church. So they literally came to visit. So we all came together to my apartment, and it was so nice. And then we were able to pray there together. It was so good. So I feel like having those people around you, and even if it's someone that you can call every other weekend or something, to motivate you. And it's not just to preach to you about. Literally, sometimes we do just need the motivation. But I found it so hard to get out for church. On Sundays, like I knew that I wanted, not that I needed to go. That was never it. I knew that I needed to fellowship. Not that I needed to go to church on Sunday. I knew I needed to be around the saints. I knew I needed to
be
have the
same life.
That same kind of people. And sometimes we can, when you're at university, you can put a lot of pressure on yourself because you're not going to church on the Sunday. But it's making sure, luckily at DMU we had like different fellowships around, numerous ones, and it's just kind of finding your way around, like starting to hang around people who can suggest places, and you go to places and you explore the church and see, whether this kind of is aligned with what you are about, what you're about, what your calling is. Do you know what I mean? If it's a very youthful church, or if you want to join the choir, you can do all of that stuff, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, also I think something we've got like a church overflow WhatsApp group. So it's like even though they're at uni, WhatsApp group. No.
I'm actually in the WhatsApp group. I've actually muted it.
People don't feel WhatsApp groups,
I don't feel.
I'm
just like.
What's the issue? What's the
issue?
issue?
Too much notifications.
Way too much. But let's not go into WhatsApp though.
They should give us money. Go on.
But so I was saying WhatsApp group to begin with, and literally just having that, you can mute it. Don't get me wrong, but then sometimes you're like. I wonder what these people are doing. You tap into it whenever you're, and you mentioned something like it's easy to fake it and like act like you're doing this, you're doing that. But I think going back to the point is, people know what they're doing wrong. Like they know when they're doing wrong.
That's the truth.
You know what I'm saying? But having that person that doesn't judge them, but still keep trying to like love them, like it'll get to a stage where like, do you know what? These people don't actually love me. These people that, or I don't love myself.
So do you think it's family though that do that though?
I think
it's like family and
because I think that something I could probably do more, or maybe that we could do more. Something I definitely didn't get on the other side was that genuine care for somebody back home. Sometimes when they go to university, they've gone. That's good. There's a spare room in the house now. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you've gone with offloaded them. You know what I mean? And and sometimes it becomes storage. You know what I mean? We've got pan line there now also. It's all nuts. And then so like it's and sometimes we kind of forget that there's a whole someone's gone. So on that accountability, But do we think that people need to kind of man up? And don't rely on accountability, or what do you say?
Do you know what?
I think there's a difference though between like, I think having a mentor, is what's important as opposed to having your family having to guide you and mold you and shield you. Do this, pray this, read this message, read this verse this night and stuff like that. I think it's important to have a mentor.
Family, do you mean like direct biological family, or do you mean like say like church family? Or
basically, I guess when you're home. You're probably from a church community. Yeah. So whatever that community is, if it's you go with your family or you go on your own, that community that you would normally be comfortable with to kind of express your faith, that sort of thing.
It's sorry, just to say, it's about the quality of relationships that you have built with those people as well that influence your experience. Because what happens is that because you are consistently connected, you haven't isolated yourself, you trust them, to open up about your struggles and it helps. And when you go into university, not trusting anybody, it's not the best place to be.
Wow.
Because in that way, you can't even, the things that you're struggling with, you can't even talk about. And you're constantly
Suffering in
afraid
silence.
of people judging you, like judgment, and that's what a lot of people suffer with. It's just kind of like, well, if I say this to that person, they're gonna judge me, or you know. And there was a lot of people at uni that were giving me the wrong advice. Like even people that I thought were Christians, they were just about the same kind of life. They were just like, your advice is a bit weird, to be honest.
Where's the source of your wisdom?
Yeah, where's your wisdom coming from? Like, you're saying that this is okay. I don't think it's okay either. It's just like, so it's like your sounds, you need to have sound words, but you need to have like sound sound counsel from people beforehand, and making sure that you are actively like, it's not, they shouldn't chase after you, like it should be a relationship that you should build.
You're intentional to build a relationship.
So
I guess, you know, because there's a part in scripture where Paul said, you know, according to the letters, I'm paraphrasing now, but he says, according to the letters that you've written to me. And I said to my youth one time, I said to them, I think that's 1 Corinthians 7. And I said to my youth one time, can you see there that they wrote letters to him? You know, can you see that there was an active, there's a pursuing from them the other way? You know, so it's not only mum and dad or pastor or youth pastor or mentor calling me, how come they haven't called me, I'm in university on my own and I'm only eating Indomie, everybody's left me on my own, there's no more money in the bank.
And then you come out with bitterness, it's like,
you come out with bitterness, but eventually how much did you do the other way?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
How much did you, and how much did, actually you two, what did you do the other? Did you actually call home enough and that sort of stuff?
Well, for me, it was a situation where like I was just free, so I was free from.
It seems I'm sorry.
So
sorry.
I'll be like, I wasn't really eager in that sense. I wasn't really like, oh yeah, mum, what are you doing? It was more of a, mum's calling, everyone be quiet quickly.
Yeah.
Take it, and then we
I was intentional with my, not necessarily my family, but my spiritual family. Like I was, because they understood me. You know, sometimes people at home, they don't necessarily
understand you.
They don't know that side of you yet. So for me, it was just easier for me to discuss my struggles with my church family and specific people from, not the whole church, but like specific people in leadership. Do you know what was really interesting as well? Just to share, I think it's really important to build those relationships. But my pastor contacted my pastor in uni and built a relationship with them, so that they know that I'm okay, and they know that this, you know, this the body that I've joined or whatever, it's, you know, it's they're okay, and they understand like my ministry and my work. So that was really
that was intention from their side.
Yeah.
That leads us into a different issue. I guess we'll close up soon, but I guess that goes back to what we were talking about, you know, off stage or off air. Kind of, do pastors even have that rapport with each other, or can build a rapport with each other? You know, to do that, because that, to me, that's the body. What you just said, that's Christianity. That's life. Because I see that you're part. We're on the same team, and if someone that I'm pouring into is coming up to you, I want to see, and let's be detailed about this young person. But some people won't see it that way. Some people see it as they're taking my children, my youth, or there's a competition for congregation, competition for members. You know, and that I think that's something that we should actually illustrate and exhibit, that, because that's sound.
I've actually, a scripture dropped into my heart. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. What that was reminding me of is that you can actually have more. For example, your pastor, another pastor. It's not an issue. It shouldn't be a competition. Not only that, a counsellor can even be a friend. When she was saying going to university, not trusting anybody, I actually think it's intentional to actually want to be a regular member in the fellowships and in your church.
Absolutely.
To be in it, have an impact, to be seen, to be noticed, that you can build that relationship as well, and they can actually counsel you in one aspect. It could be finance, it could be emotional, spiritual, academic, or whatsoever. You can go to different people.
It made me feel I felt so safe.
Can I just quickly add, like, if you're actually a Christian watching this and you're shy Christians, literally just put yourself out there, because nobody can read your mind at the end of the day. They can pray for you, they can, you know, offer hands out, you know, like, you know, to but literally just step out. Like, there's no point being shy, because if you're, like you said, if you're suffering stuff alone, there's not nobody's gonna know. You don't need to go through certain stuff alone. There's people out there that want to make themselves like they want to love you. Do you feel me? So
and
allow
don't be
yourself
ashamed.
to be loved.
Don't
Yeah,
be
literally.
ashamed of. Do you know that was a really big struggle? You know, people walk around ashamed of Jesus
gospel,
and the gospel.
Jesus.
And I remember just kind of like a whole bunch of, like you said, like we just took over, man. We were just like, bun you lot, man. It's all about Jesus now, like bun raving, bun, you know, and really walking out.
In a way that was still kind of cool.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it is cool.
It
Like,
is cool.
They thought it was.
What?
Like, for example, like now we go evangelizing on a Saturday, and people just walking past like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Well, evangelizing," and sort of thing. And because I'm very independent anyway, so they can see that okay, she doesn't look. I still not that I look like them, but I still do think that they do.
I just thought I'd
in
look
terms of
awkward. Like first year, I was just like, I don't want to be rolling with you lot, man. You look mad. Still, like, you know, go in, like give your life to, you know, and be on the campus, and I'll just say, yeah, that's corny, man. But there's a way, like, you know, whatever way that comes to you naturally. Like my way was literally getting people into my home and spending time with me, and do you know what I mean? You don't have to be on the roads ringing bells and saying come to Christ. Like, it's not about
you can still do it. You can do it in a modern way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
however way you want to do so, you can do it in that way.
Definitely.
Wow, that's really interesting. Well, I guess the last thing I'd ask you guys is for those guys. No, I'm not spoken about it earlier. For those guys who, man, let's start with the. That's probably no, I shouldn't say that. But let's start with people that might be struggling with lust, struggling with food, struggling with drugs, robbery. You know, I had friends who got into a lot of things. Some boys went from uni to jail. Some boys that never had a criminal record before went into all of a sudden went into jail. Girls went and started getting themselves involved in all different sorts of things, different sorts of things they're doing to their bodies for the aid of contraception. You know, loads of stuff is happening that we know as Christians is damaging for the soul, damaging for the spirit, and damaging for the body. You know, what would, you know, if you could just have one last word for those people that might be struggling with that? You know, what would you say to those people that they're Christian, they're looking at their life and they're saying, I'm at university and this is not where I should be?
You're not the only one. That's what I'll say. You are not the only one. And I don't say that in a condescending way. I mean that you literally are not the only one dealing with that issue. That there's so many people who are in the Christian walk that are going through the same exact thing. And I think what's beautiful as believers and true believers, earnest believers, are those people who can also say that I too am struggling. And when you know that somebody else is going through that same thing, you can be open, and you can, you know, that's when healing starts to take place, because it means that you're not going to judge me for doing this or feeling like this or having experienced that. So know that you're not the only one, and for that reason just kind of like be led to speak to somebody that you trust, so that you can start to deal with those issues, because that's what you want. You don't want to go through uni being bitter to your family for not being there for you, because you just don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, your family don't know. Nobody knows what you're dealing with if you don't say anything. So I'd definitely suggest that.
And I think that identifying that you're actually struggling with something, I think that's the first step to actually healing anyway. Not only that, but I think that it's important to not condemn yourself, because condemnation can kill so many people. To not condemn yourself, to understand that Jesus loves you regardless. Like, he died for this. He died for you to have life in abundance. Moreover, to surround yourself with like-minded people, that it will be very painful to transition, especially when you're so used to somebody. This was your lifestyle. They had your back, they had this, whatever. But to surround yourself with like-minded people, even though it can cause you pain, because it's worth it. And those who are suffering with fraud, Jesus will provide. Know how to ask for wisdom.
They will catch you if you don't
Know how to manage.
They will catch you.
Know how to manage your resources and ask for wisdom, because sometimes we spend money like we're rich because we eat out for the whole week. Why are you doing that? That's very foolish. And you know that you haven't eaten, you need to eat for the next 3 months, and the student loan comes in termly installments. And those who are suffering of lust, what can I say?
There's a lot that can be said, isn't it?
There's a lot that can be said. Like Tommy said, I think you can actually deal with it with prayer as well, because it's the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh.
But if you're in your words, it's difficult, man.
That means you need to be in your word.
Get
You
into
need
your
to
word,
be in
yeah.
your word. You need to be in your
Get into
word.
You can
prayer.
be in your dark corner in your room. You could be praying and still be dealing with this thing.
But it's a gradual
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. That's what
people
I'm saying.
think
It's a
it's a quick
journey.
fix.
It's not a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
No,
It's
it's
not
not
a quick
about
fix.
how many times you can go without having sex for, go without watching pornography, or going without masturbation for. It's not about that. It's about the journey. Do you know what I mean? It really is about the journey. There's no.
Change your mind and
It's
heart as
yeah,
well, isn't it?
and it's just knowing that Christ sees you for you and not for what you do.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It's ultimately that, because imagine if God saw us for the things that we did.
Wow.
If He measured us against that, we would be gone and finished. So it's not because of that.
I think that means you have to be intentional, like actually hunger to not want it. Like you know when you're desperately seeking help.
Not even hunger to not want it, hunger for the Lord, as in pray for the desire for more of Him.
Of Him,
More of
more
Him.
of His
Forget
love.
about the sin. Forget about your struggle. I'm talking to you. No, I'm joking. No, but forget about the
It's
struggle.
true.
Literally, forget about that, because it's just the struggle. It's no bigger than who God has called you to be. And I think that's what people deal with. It's like, I am this
I am
thing.
weak.
I am weak. I had the abortion. I had the struggle with pornography. I had the.
But what are those who are in it? Because that's
Can I
condemning
say that?
yourself.
No, but that's
I
what I'm saying. That I have. You are not those things.
You are not exactly.
You are not
See
those
yourself
things.
how
That's
God
not
sees
your
you.
identity.
But this is all
Definitely.
easy to say than to
It's
But
do.
listen,
identity.
I think one of the, again, just quickly build on the point I was going to say, it's like be practical. So it's a thing where, be prayerful, like put it over to God, like God loves the sinner, not the sin. So I think so. But at the same time, make sure there's help. Like I remember when I was at uni, there's help. There's a I think there was a union where literally any struggle you're having in uni, because they know like people actually know that you're gonna have issues at uni. So there's things out there like,
And it's not just Christian stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
there's
It's just like
so
generic
practical
like
stuff. So
groups.
you're reading your word. You're getting different viewpoints on your situation. You're actually analysing the fact that I have a problem. And then actually go out there and be like, even if it's just, what can I do about this issue?
And sometimes it's good talking to people that you don't even know. Like that really
They'll
helps.
never see you again,
Because they will
anyway.
never see you again. But it's being open about that. But then also I was gonna say, just to wrap up on my part, it's just kind of uni is an experience for you to know who you are, as in it's an identity thing. It's hugely to do
You
with
really find yourself,
identity
don't you?
and how, do you know what I mean? And it's a journey. University is just one of those experiences in life that help you to get to know who you really are.
But I think, sorry, I think what we were saying before about not looking at the sin, I just think really being in your word and being intentional, like set your alarm to say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes to read my word, because the word of God is very powerful. It is alive and active. It penetrates into your body. It can change your mind and your thoughts. And lustful desires come from how you think. And it's what you feed yourself with. So feeding yourself with the word, it will grow and it will be good food to your body. So I think being intentional about it.
Yeah.
So that will help.
But guys, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. And we're ending the show now. And guys, well, there it is, the University Christian. Is it possible? We've made it clear today that it is possible. Thank you very much, guys, for that. Guys, stay tuned. We've got administration coming now, and look forward to episode 4 also. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.
Hi, my name is Kunle. I'm here with Ore and Pedro, and today we'll be singing a song called Holiness by Micah Stampley. Holiness, holiness is what I long for. Holiness is what I need. Holiness, holiness is what you want for me. For me. Holiness, holiness is what I long for. Holiness is what I holiness is what you want for me, for me. Take my heart and mold it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. Righteousness, righteousness is what I long for. Righteousness is what I need. Righteousness, righteousness is what you want for me, for me. Take my heart and mold it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. Take my heart and mold it. Take my mind, transform it. Take my will, conform it to yours, oh Lord. To yours, oh Lord. To yours,